things are going in Nigeria and what can we do better.
Okay.
So situations like these, the pandemics, they're a true litmus test of our leadership potentials. And when I say leadership, I mean each and every individual in the business scenario or in the personal scenario. Leadership not only means the positions that we're talking about, that you have to be a managing director to be a leader. That's not true. You are a leader in yourself. However, these pandemics are different from the usual business disruptions because these are the events which unfold with a lot of uncertainty over a period of few months or years in certain times. And they require some additional activities, like you might need to consult an epidemiologist, or you will need to identify critical roles in your organization to delegate the job responsibilities in such crisis. Or you might need to have third-party evaluations. When we are saying third parties, we are referring to our suppliers and customers both.
Okay.
Let's have a look at this. That's Italy. That's where I come from. And the graph that you see on the right-hand side of your screen is there because it shows the number of cases region-wise in Italy. And why have I put this graph there? Because yes, we are talking about the third largest economy in Europe. However, the most affected areas, the ones that are the hardest hit in Italy, are the 4 top areas that you see in the graph, which is Lombardy, Emilia-Romagna, Piedmont, and Veneto. These are the heartlands that generate 1/3 of the country's economic output. So we can imagine how the economic condition has been once these areas are the ones that are worst hit. And here in Italy, we are facing a great dilemma because we have been in lockdown for a period longer than most nations across the globe, because we were the ones to be hit first after Wuhan, China. We had the world's second highest death toll since last 3 days. Otherwise, if you would have looked at the news before 3 days, we were the top. We had the most number of fatalities in Italy. However, last 3 days, the United States has already exceeded the number of deaths that we've had in Italy. So we are the second highest now. And with this, we are expecting our GDP to fall by 6% this year. And at the same time, the public debt is going to spike up by 150%. That's where we are right now. Let's have a look at how did it all begin? Because it did not look like this when things started. Let me show you how was it when we started with the pandemic. So 9 March was the day when Italy entered into a lockdown. The government asked all the schools, all the non-essential travel, all the commercial activities to be shut down, except the food and the medicines. Okay. And at that time, there was no inclusion of industrial production and manufacturing, which means that the government did not give a clear-cut guideline on whether the industrial production and manufacturing should continue or they should stop. So that is when the leadership of the organization comes in and people start seeing, okay, this is the decision we need to make in this particular scenario. Now, there were 2 options. One was to continue operating with the reduced capacity. And that's what companies like Rati did. Rati is a leading fabric manufacturer for many of the luxury brands in Italy. And the CEO of Rati says that they decided to run their operations with reduced capacity. However, it was not cost effective at all. It was better for them to have shut down. But they decided to still continue with limited operations to make sure they were able to pay the wages to the employees and at the same time manage the client relationships. They also had to adhere quickly to the new rules that the government has passed in. Now, what were they? We know it already: social distancing, and then allowing people to work from home, etc. The second option was to halt operations completely. Companies like the Albini Group. Albini Group is a leading European manufacturer of the shirting fabric for your well-known brands like Ralph Lauren, Dior, Calvin Klein. All those are the brands we run after shopping. And the picture that you see on the right-hand side of the screen is the shopping district of Milan, which is known to be the fashion capital. So this Albini group, they totally halted their operations because they did not want any of their employees to get sick. And they said, we are shutting down completely, even though the government had not given a clear-cut guideline at that point in time. And with all this happening, we were expecting a domino effect. What does that mean? All right, the shops are closed. Retailers are not allowed to open. How will that impact the business? When there are no sales, when there is no revenue, how do we pay our employees? How do we pay our suppliers whose payments are due? That was the domino effect. When one was getting affected, the other part of the other arm of the business was also getting impacted. Let me show you something. When it all started in the month of March, early March, what the industrialists thought about. 35% of them thought that there is no registered damage because of the pandemic. They could